What's up? Well, I put in my 2-week notice today and I had the best chat with my principal and the principal secretary. They're like, we totally get it. That's 2 jobs in a row where everybody's like, we totally get it. This one I got hired on for a very specific job that actually changed because the school just started having a lot of problems. Teachers quitting, and I had to fill in at places that after a while became too stressful and I just wasn't comfortable. And I've got a cold, as y'all can hear, and hoping I can go back on Monday. I put in my notice though. My last day will be Thursday the 17th. And blah, blah, blah. But yeah, good terms. They totally understand. You're right. This isn't what we hired you for. And I didn't even say this isn't what I was hired for. Or like, I didn't say it like, well, this wasn't what I was hired for. I just said, hey, this wasn't what I expected. It's not y'all's fault. I know y'all had to make moves and do things based off the hand you were dealt, and they did. And I'm just telling you, school systems, and I'm at one of them rough schools, man, tough school. Most of the kids don't have both parents, period. And when you're subbing in these rooms, subs get abused. So you do subbing, or I was also watching. I basically had a turnaround room where I had a permanent 4, and it just it's not what I signed up for, and what do you call it in school? Suspension permanently, the same 4, or a turnaround room. They're going to be with you every day for the rest of the year. They eat with you. There's no break, and you're constantly redirecting. Sorry, I sound so ill, but I decided to do a video. And did I already share with y'all that at the Wikipedia site for Corona beer, it literally states other variants of Corona beer brand include Corona Light, Corona Premier, and Corona Familiar. Well, there's the light, Lucifer is light. There's the Familiar Spirits. You got me on Premier. But don't you love the way they said, couldn't they have said our beer comes in 3 different varieties, or 4 varieties, or 3 other varieties? There's 3 other varieties of Corona beer, where the most popular is Corona Extra, along with Corona. Well, yeah, it's 4 total. There's Corona beer, there's Corona Extra, Corona Light, Corona Premier, and Corona Familiar. There's a million ways to word that using the words like variety, just normal verbiage. You wouldn't say, when does anybody say that there's different variants of Coca-Cola? But they said variants concerning their Corona beer. And y'all remember how Christian Bale, who's always playing Donald Trump, said, I'll have a Corona in the movie American Psycho. You just got to love that, don't you? Other variants of the Corona beer include womp womp. So this came up as a match for Dia de Muertos, October 3, which matches a lot of the things that came up, dies on a Monday. Remember that? or he is just celebrated in their world after October, after the day on October 3. Or he might die on October 3. Hit on the 2nd, who knows? Now, I did Dia de Muertos. You ready? On the Germinator one, it's 125, 44, 172, 64. 4 of 4 ciphers, you get police state on the Day of the Dead. Now, this is Day of the Dead. There's 2 ways to say Day of the Dead in the Mexican language. And I thought looking it up in Gematria in the Mexican language was key because it's a Mexican holiday. Or you Google it as Spanish. There's no such thing as Mexican when it comes to language. It's Spanish. Also comes to Pete Carroll of fake football fame, pro and college. Won both national championship and Super Bowl, by the way. They don't give that to just anybody. And Outback Bowl. Now look at all the things that I matched it up with that I thought was worthy of sharing with y'all. And the reason why Corona Extra came up as a search was because it actually shows up in this Corona Extra. In Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead, the short version of Day of the Dead. Corona Extra comes up. Its numbers 569, 804, and 134. And it comes to Taco Tuesday, solar eclipse. Now, if he dies on the Monday, he would rise on the Tuesday, what they're calling Taco Tuesday. If he dies on a Monday, then he rises on the 5th, hit on a Sunday, dies on a Monday, rises on a Wednesday. Taco Tuesday is just Taco Tuesday. Hey, it's 8:02, y'all. Bohemian Grove, we know what that's all about. If you don't know, just ask. And the letter QANON, Make America Great. Wow. Y'all, remember when I looked one up? I thought I would be clever and want to look something up in a Gematria search, and it said no matches. Like there was nothing that matched. Look at all of these things that match. Now, it's not like nothing matched, but it had nothing to do with the end times or their world. And this, I'm reading to you everything that's of the end times or their world. All right. Day of the Dead in Spanish also comes to death is not the end. Oh no, he'll still be alive. Alive and kicking. I'm Still Standing, Elton John song. Comes to global warming, which by the Great Trib time, and that was told to us via the movie Tenet, that global warming was a key to the Earth's destruction. And that's what he'll be returning from the dead to save us from. Also comes to March 11th. It comes to prime number. It comes to Apollo 11, Magic and Mayhem, American Patriot, MSU football. I thought that was keen because that's the team that goes into the transfer portal in the Dr. Pepper commercial. Mississippi State University. Sorry. Should have just clicked Wikipedia. I'm not completely with it, so bear with me. Established February 28th, 143 years ago. The old 143. So it'll be 144. Because isn't the end times for the 144? Isn't opening the book of Revelation for the 144? That's very interesting. But that's the team that goes into the transfer portal. He's wearing purple and he's wearing number 4. We know that Dak Prescott played for Mississippi State, and when he played for Dallas in the NFL, he wore number 4. So that was cryptic. And the player that comes back out of the portal is from Tech. The one that goes in is from State. Then he was wearing the Mississippi State colors of maroon and white. And so this year in a bowl game, Mississippi State played Texas Tech. So State played Tech. And Mississippi State goes by State. I mean, their fight song is nothing but Go State. And that's what's written on the jersey of the guy that went into the portal. State. The guy that came out was Tech. Mississippi State played Texas Tech in this year's bowl game. The first PE coach I worked with, the one who showed me the ropes, he went to Mississippi State. We know Jamie from Louisiana and all those connections. It's like everybody I've ever known is connected somehow, some way. It's fascinating, isn't it? Also comes, Day of the Dead also comes to Jack Nicholson, Tom Petty, we believe still alive, Fake Death, Won't Back Down, the Gators' 4th quarter theme song. Well, who ain't going to back down? The old Antichrist. They're going to just get started. Book of Revelation is opening. It's their time. They don't realize it's their time to do what God has ordained them to do for most of the lost sheep on this earth. Well, for all the lost sheep on this earth. That's what it's for. Also comes to Jared Kushner. Day of the Dead comes to Jared Kushner. Comes to the Son of God. S-U-N. It comes to a R-I, I put here, careful when reading, an R-I-G-G-E-D-E-E-L-E-C-T-I-O-N. A R-I-G-G-E-D-E-L-E-C-T-I-O-N. It also comes to SMU football. They received the death penalty, February 25th, 1987. The team playing on prime time the night my son was born. Yeah. I remember it like it was a year ago. And it was 38 and a half years ago. So the score was 15-12. It was on TV. It was this big game, and I was so immersed in college football. My son's being born, and in 1983, the husbands didn't go inside, so there was the waiting room, and the game was on. I was like, well, I got the game on, I guess, to keep my mind off things. Back in those days, you just paced the floor, didn't you? Might as well show you this since I clicked on it. I don't know why I clicked. Well, I'll come back. Well, oh, because I was at the bottom. I don't know. Let me clear my throat. Okay, Day of the Dead comes to Appointed One. We know who that is. The Day of the Dead. The guy that dies, but doesn't really die. Mexican music. Well, the Day of the Dead is Mexican. I guess they'll be, I don't know. Pete Davidson. New Year's Eve with Miley Cyrus. She came up to something. I can't remember what it was, but y'all remember one of the ciphers kicked out Miley Cyrus as a match. I don't remember what it was we were looking at. But Pete Davidson. What a creepy dude he is, man. Tomahawk Chop from Florida State University. Florida's arch rival. They're going to put the Tomahawk Chop on the Devil's Advocate. And the Devil's Advocate came from where? Gainesville, Florida. And they said, go Gators, when they were doing shots when he won a court case before being recruited up to New York City to work for Satan. So Tomahawk Chop comes up on Day of the Dead. The Devil's Advocate's arch rival team. That's, I don't know. These things could just be coincidences. I mean, you know, but it's kind of fascinating. Christina Marie Ricci, Addams Family Wednesday. And Addams Family is something I need to take a look at. I need to just straight up look at Addams Family. I need to straight up look at Addams Family Wednesday. All right, Day of the Dead comes to the name Drumpf. Well, that's his 666 name in both directions. Fascinating. Sun in Gemini. That would be Donald Trump's natal chart. He's born with the sun in Gemini. Elvis lives. Ooh, Trump is Elvis. Trump lives. VACCINEMANDATES. And there was 313 searches. The Ghost in the Machine made sure that there was 313 searches when I looked. A Hive, VIRUS. A Hive, VIRUS. Mickey Mouse, which stands for Master Mason. Corona Extra, we've already discussed it. October 3. Dies on a Monday, or they begin their stuff on October 3 because of the Day of the Dead. Because he died, I mean. All right. Day of the Dead comes to The Division. Well, I guess it does. Book of Revelation ain't nothing but division. It's war. It's famine. It's 1 out of 4 people dying due to war. It's separating the sheep from the goats. It's everything. Day of the Dead also comes to people are gullible. Mike Pence killed. 912, which is the next progression after 911. Well, if the twin Trumps going down, the ritual was called 911, then 912 is the next progression. So it's very interesting that on Day of the Dead, you get 912, which also is changed around any way you want, like 291, 219, 129. Day of the Dead also comes to the Ides of March, out on 5th, out on 5th, out on 5th. October 5th, my original divorce date of the divorce date of my first or original marriage comes to out on 5th. Does October 5th, is that when he rises, in other words, hit on a Tuesday, dies on the 3rd, dies on a Monday, and then rises on the 5th. Fresh start. May 8th. That's very interesting that somebody would search May 8th just to make this fit, because that's what the Ghost in the Machine does. The Ghost in the Machine goes in and does gematria searches on things it wants us to see. May 8th. That's the day Earl died. and it's Trump's 58. Nobody's figured out what the 58 means yet. Nobody's figured out what the 4269 license tag is on 007's car in his final movie. And nobody's figured out what the 753 is on all the clocks at the beginning of Back to the Future. All the clocks are clicking 753. What in the world does that mean? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, won't we? That's three things to figure out. Trump's 58. Because is it just all about Earl's May 8th? Which was the path for all of us to get here and do what we're doing here. That means all of us. We're all here. We all matter the exact same to the Lord, period. And we're here. Day of the Dead comes to, begins October 2nd. Just begins October. Day of the Dead comes to, Trump goes. Day of the Dead comes to, fluoride calcified pineal, or pineal, excuse me. Pineal, like the pineal gland. Day of the Dead comes to football league. Boy, you had better. Let me tell you something. Laura Rutledge, whose birthday is October 2nd, 1988. That's the day she was born. It's not just her birthday. It's the day she was born. Laura Rutledge. She is all about NFL Live TV show. And you ought to see the psychological operation that ran the whole show yesterday. 1 solid hour devoted to theater because they're getting you ready for the halftime show. Just go read NFL news of what's the current state of affairs of the NFL news. It is based off RACE. It is based off RACE exponentially. They're taking some guy's word without even talking to anybody else. They're putting this guy and what he's claiming all over the news. Really? Since when did we take one guy's word for anything? Before any trial or before anything? Because it's theater. So let me get this straight. You're going to take your RACE narrative and you're going to plaster it all over a WWE fake format? Because we already know the game's fake, so obviously your stupid story's fake. And besides the RACE card that they're heavily playing, just because. I got brain fog. I forgot what it was. Oh, but they're setting up the narrative. Guess who the halftime show is? Well, what do you think they're all going to be? The underlying narrative is going to be the defenders of RACE. ISM, right? RAC ISM. Keep that divide thing going. Got to, right? So they're using a fake sport to produce a fake story. They don't even care that y'all all know this stuff's fake. They don't care. They just love the chaos. in the division, and they love that it drives us crazy. So I got y'all to vent too, so it doesn't drive me crazy. Day of the Dead comes to Hannibal Lecter. Comes to Pothead Music. Well, Pothead's big day is 420. Comes to Doc Holliday. He's come up a lot. Why would anybody search Doc Holliday? Ever? Ghost and Machine put him in there. He was one of Urban Meyer's top recruiters, top coaches when Urban was winning those 2 national championships. I think he left after the first national championship. Then he went on to be the head coach of Marshall. Doc Holliday, Wikipedia. Well, let's go see when he's born. Well, I'll be. This is some dude from 1887. So Holiday spelled that way or that way. It's 2 different spellings. Doc Holliday, football coach, Wikipedia. So there's the double L if it's the name. Okay. And this is Holiday with 1 L. Okay. Well, it ends up being nothing really. Why does that come up though? Because I've seen that many times. Because I recall it. Because wonder if that on a search will give you something. Know what I'm saying? Because I recall him, or I recall seeing that because I remember the coach. Day of the Dead comes to solar eclipse. 433 in Jewish gematria, which is what April 20, 2023 comes to in a cipher. It comes to 433. When Michael did that search, 433 was there, and this solar eclipse comes to 433. And we know that 420, 2023 is a solar eclipse, and they both come up with the 433 gematria number. Day of the Dead comes to Alice and the Rabbit. Nuclear warhead. Well, 28 days later is Day of the Dead. Is that when they dropped that? Comes to John Bon Jovi. Comes to no internet. Duh, we had no clue. Really? There won't be an internet when Day of the Dead's taking place? And Day of the Dead is twofold. It's the holiday of October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd, and it's when Trump goes down. Danny Thomas comes to sickle cell anemia. Nobody is safe. I think we get that. Comes to Mary Christ. Day of the Dead comes to Jacob I have loved. The rest of the verses, and Esau I have hated, before either one were born. Romans 9:13. Comes to the Red Cross, comes to Middle East war, which is what we see in IPEC Goat. Let me key that up. The 4 seasons.
According to Wikipedia, the 4 seasons.
I need to do a better job of that. It's the 4 seasons. Who loves you? So I see it. I don't have it on. I'm not listening to music lately. and it seems to be doing me well. But I looked down and it said, "Who loves you?" And then I looked a little closer and I was like, well, that's one heck of a picture to have representing. Like, that was the album that the song "Who Loves You" came on. Why would you have such a dark, and that's your Tiny Dancer in your hand that Elton John sang about, who of course is Lucifer. And when you look real close at the picture, anyway, it's pretty broad shoulders there, Michael. But yeah, that's a pretty sinister album cover. With the eyeballs and all. Why would you have to make that album so dark and sinister? It's such a lovely song. It's just a simple old pop song from the 70s. Because everything in their world is dark, dark and dark and dark, dark and wicked. Michael said, that is crazy beyond words. That whole Donnie Darko release date, 1/19/2001, and when you turn it backwards, it's 10:02 911. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. Every single thing seems to point to October 2nd. It just really does. If it's, especially the way it portals over to the next solar eclipse on Hitler's birthday. 2023. Dia de los Muertos. The long version of it didn't give me nearly as much. But maybe it's more rich in quality. And even though it's less in quantity, you totally decide. Comes to Devil, Kobe Bean Bryant, his full name, August 11th, which comes to 88. And this year, there's a full moon on August 11th. Comes to November 19. We need to store that date, right, for Day of the Dead, the long version of the Spanish version of Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. I think the other one was Dia de, or de, I forget. I don't know. One of them's missing. Powerball jackpot. Will there be a big, gigantic Powerball jackpot worth a certain number soon that might say October 2nd or 82 or 802, right? Or 102 or 1002. Which one means October 2nd to you more? 102 or 1002? Just curious. I don't know which one does to me. I kind of feel like the one that's more significant would be the 1002 or 1002. But 102, it's no different. You know, it's splitting hairs. All right. Day of the Dead also comes to Austin Powers, April 20th. Really? So he dies in 201 days, connecting to the Abomination of Desolation date of April 20th. So the book of Revelation is opened in 201 days, connecting 201 days later is the most profound moment of the book of Revelation. So the day that opens it portals over to the most profound date of it. The most profound moment of the book of Revelation, in an earthly sense, is the abomination of desolation. Because watch how the Lord worded it. Proverbs 16:4, King James Version, Bible Gateway. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. It is the day of evil. This earth has been nothing but evil since Adam and Eve did the deed. It's been nothing but evil. But there's one day that the Lord will tell you is the day of evil. And we believe it to be April 20th, 2023. Y'all remember my birthday, 7 times 6 times 1961 times 2023 does come to 666. If you remove that 2023 and just go back to my number, it's got the number 8, TO2, the number 36. Now, 8 is a triangular number of 36. 36 is a triangular number of 666. So you go 8, 2, 36, 2, 666. You get the 8, 2, 3. Anyway, just I don't know, man. Just more trivia for you. Day of the Dead comes to April 20th. Fascinating. Day of the Dead also comes to March 17th. It comes to Donald Trump is dead. Donald Trump's end. And then Trump ends America. So it almost seems like this one has more quality but less quantity with matches that I found fascinating. Because April 20th is fascinating. Donald Trump is dead is fascinating. Donald Trump's end is fascinating. Trump ends America is fascinating. May 21, St. Augustine, which I think is the first city in America. Careless Whisper, a song by George Michael. Careless Whisper, Wikipedia. Okay, July 24th. I already checked that. I remember that now. I think I looked up St. Augustine too. St. Augustine, Florida, Wikipedia. St. Augustine, the person. There was a St. Augustine, you know. But here it comes to, yeah, the whole name, S. Augustine of Hippo. He's born November 13th. He died August 28th. We'll get to that. We'll just do it real quick. There's a movie called 88 that Adam shared with me. Adam said he's got a new video coming out. Solid Lion. Notice it has 404, the amount of verses in the book of Revelation. In the heart of the views there. Or FOR 404, 85. 85, I can explain to Michael real easy. That's good stuff. So the movie's called 88. Well, wouldn't you know Christopher Lloyd is in it? Mr. Back to the Future Doc, and his name is Cyrus. Trump and Cyrus coin. You got Trump and Cyrus on a coin together. Right there. Well, I would say this Day of the Dead has much better quality. Day of the Dead also comes to any combination of these, but I put it in the order of 022 because 022 is this year of Trump, text to Trump's 88022. Day of the Dead also comes to Are You Serious? It comes to Comfortably Numb. It comes to Deadly, COVID, VACCINES. Deadly, COVID, VACCINES. Day of the Dead comes to Rise Like a Phoenix. Well, duh. Comes to I Hate Mondays. Interesting. Does he die on a Sunday or die on the Monday? Seems to me that Michael, I think we would lean towards he gets hit. Michael kind of laid it out pretty succinctly, like he gets hit on a Sunday. And I think it'll be on a golf course. I think he'll be playing golf on a Sunday. He doesn't do a lot of rally stuff on Sundays. And they try to keep him alive. You know, that whole Walter Reed thing. I forget that how Michael had done some stuff how that came up to 666 and stuff. So he you know, they try to keep him alive, you know, because he left Walter Reed. Remember, he said I had it on August 2nd, but I think Michael said he left Walter Reed on the 4th, but the official document said on the 5th. When he was released. Batman v Superman, it comes to Eternal Torment, which is for the fallen angels only. Comes to The Darkest Night, of course, The Darkest Night. We watched The Dark Knight again, and we showed him with eye black all over the right eye through the cowl, and we could tell it was not a 33-year-old, 32-year-old, give or take. Yep, that's actually how old he was when that movie was filmed and released, around that range. You can tell that was not his eyes. It was way too many wrinkles. That was Trump's eye with eye black with the cowl on in that scene that they dubbed in. Super gigantic close-up. On a Harvest Moon, which Corn Harvest Full Moon 2022. Do you know the Harvest Full Moon is mainly called now this one they call it the Harvest, but all the ones I looked at today called it a oh, that's right. The Harvest Moon is September 10th. This one is called Hunter's Moon. And it's a blood moon. 7 days after Trump would get hit, like it's the next full moon after he goes down. It's a blood moon. And we find it fascinating that you get a full moon on December 7th when World War II began, that you get full moons on August 11th and November 8th because they both come to 88. November 11th month times the 8th day, 88. August 8th month times the 11th day comes to 88. It's August 11th and November 8th. We have full moons this year. 2 full moons that come to 88. It's just, it's fascinating. You get a super moon on the buck moon. You get a super moon on the strawberry moon. On Trump's birthday, you have a super moon. It says Eastern time, 7:52 a.m. Well, that's not 7:53, is it? I wonder if others have it 7:53. Day of the Dead also comes to eclipse of the moon. Trump was born on an eclipse of the moon. It also comes to the Sunshine State. Wilbur Marshall, who wore number 88 for Florida, the Devil's Advocate University. Wilbur Marshall, University of Florida. He's on Florida's Ring of Honor. You could have taken any number of players and had them on that Ring of Honor, but there's only like 6 of them. And old 88's up there. Wilbur Marshall. Wilbur, Mr. Ed, the white horse. Wilbur Marshall, the Chris Berman used to say. The white horse, Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed. Was Mr. Ed a white horse? Oh, it was black and white. TV show. I don't know. That's him years later, though. I don't know. As a moon in Aries. As a moon in Aries. Well, 7 days after October 2nd is a blood red moon, full moon in Aries. That's the Libra sun. On October 9th, blood red moon, that's a Libra sun. So the full moon is always opposite the sun sign. So if the sun is in Libra, the moon will be in Aries. And we also get on Day of the Dead Monday afternoon, which might be specific to when he dies. If he gets hit on a Sunday and then dies on a Monday. So we did the Cyrus movie, Christopher Lloyd, the movie 88. He had sent me the trailer for it. This came out in 2015 when Trump announced his presidency. You got to love the 404 in the middle of the views, 4040485. Oh, I need to check Michael's prep. We already did all this. I guess we did, huh? So here's the latest that we didn't do. It says this is a screenshot of the cross controlling puppet strings from iPet Goat that matches the movie poster The Godfather. Oh, okay. I got you. The Godfather, puppet strings. iPet Goat, puppet strings. Yeah, that was a great find when he said that, man. I was like, whoa, that's right. So everything else here, I think we've already covered with Michael. I think we did. Did we? They're not highlighted. Did I go through them though and forget to? Michael, let me know. I feel like we did the DDT one. I know we did that one. There's the April 23. See the 433? April 20, 2023 has the 433, and the solar eclipse was 433 in the gematria. Yeah, we did do these, right? Okay. What he was talking about with the SA, S, and Y, Captain Hook School, S and Y, Captain Hook School. He said they used this photo of those that had passed, but it was actually them years later in this advertisement, or in, you know, before the Super Bowl, doing some sort of speech. Stunning portraits of crying children that brought the photographer hate mail. You just, and Michael and I both absolutely know how STAGED all that was. All the world's a stage. Boy, was that ever. You guys want me to put Wilbur Marshall as the I don't know. Let me see what thumbnail naturally comes up. Maybe I'll put Wilbur Marshall up there since he's wearing the 88. Love y'all very much.